He could go as high as #1 overall in this year's draft. Chase Young, a guy our very own Daniel Jeremiah says is the best draft prospect in the National Football League this year. But Peter, give us the sights and sounds from what's going on in Indianapolis today.
Okay, today is so huge here because it's the first time ever the Combine is in prime time, and today is the first day of competition on the field. It's going to be the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, really the glory positions. This is the best wide receiver class we've seen in recent memory, and the quarterbacks are so dynamic, and they're going to have the opportunity to do it under the lights in prime time. That's all night tonight. But leading up to that, we've got all the defensive players meeting with the media behind me. Chase Young is going to join us on the show. So is Matt Patricia, the head coach of the Detroit Lions. It's a busy day at the Combine. It's maybe the most significant day for the Combine that we've had in recent years as it moves to primetime under the bright lights.
Very
lights. Okay, Shrey.
I'm looking forward to Peter sitting next to Chase Young just for the visual. Body doubles, basically, separated at birth. Peter, get ready. Tuck it in.
I'm ready.
It's time for the lead block. Thanks so much, Greg. So we'll get right back to you. But let's start with those Redskins. Their head coach, Ron Rivera, said when it comes to their second overall pick in the draft, everything is an option. So here's what he had to say about interviewing some of the top quarterback prospects in the draft.
We're not closing the door on anything. One of the things that Kyle and I talked about is that we have to go through this process because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen in front of you. You don't know what's going to happen with you. So we're going to go through, and Tua is one of the guys that we're bringing in, just so everybody knows. Okay, we're bringing in Burrows, we're bringing in Tua, and we'll see both of their workouts. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, you just don't know. So we're going to prepare. We're going to get ourselves ready. We're going to obviously look at some of the other players. We're going to look at Chase. We're going to look at the corners. We're going to look at everybody.
He's going to do everything, looking at everyone. He's interested, in everyone.
Sure.
But he's not exactly ruling out the fact that he likes Dwayne Haskins. In fact, I was reading about some of his comments when asked about him. He's watched all of his tape. He was super impressed. I mean, he beat Dwayne Haskins beat these Panthers last year when the Panthers went on an 8-game losing skid. Most people have Chase Young going #2 to the Redskins. If they were to take a quarterback that is losing, maybe the best piece will be joining Peter Schrager in a bit. How do you guys feel about the draft landscape at the top, given these maybes and what so have yous?
If the Redskins take a quarterback at 2, I think we get something that we love, which is Bedlam.
Okay.
And I hope that the production goes directly to the camera of the war room of the Detroit Lions at #3, because they will be cracking beers and high-fiving and running to submit the pick for Chase Young.
No doubt.
I mean, Matt Patricia, defensive coach, we got the best player in the draft at 3. It'll be the fastest pick ever. Matt Stafford will celebrate because they ain't drafting Tua to replace him.
Right.
And then it gets also really interesting. These other guys like the Justin Herbert, the Jordan Love, these other quarterbacks come up. And then there becomes a secondary market for maybe there's a team that misses out on Tua that was going to get him, like the Chargers or the Panthers. There becomes a secondary market for Dwayne Haskins. Like, he may become available like Rosen became available last year. So then Haskins becomes one of the de facto prospects coming out of the draft. It's #Bedlam. I hope it happens.
It would change the way the whole first round.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, if Chase Young slides, then all of a sudden that list that people have of the order, they're just tossing everything out.
They're
going to go right to what they feel like is the best player in the draft, and that's Chase Young. But I feel like the Redskins are going to snatch him. They're going to grab him. You know, when we keep talking about what Joe Burrow did in college, the 60 touchdowns, let's not forget Dwayne Haskins threw 50 touchdowns in college. And I know it's a little bit different system, and they're different athletes in general, but Dwayne Haskins had himself a hell of a collegiate career. Even though it was short, it was a little bit of a flash in the pan. I feel like Rivera has exactly what he needs. And if you look at the landscape of the NFC East, we're talking Wentz, Dak, Daniel Jones, young quarterbacks. They're going to get Chase Young to chase young quarterbacks in the NFC East. And if they can do that, it's okay if Dwayne Haskins is still learning a little bit on the fly. If your defense is phenomenal, they'll have a little bit of wiggle room. I do feel like they're going to go with Chase Young at #2.
It also would affect if that happens and they don't take him and Chase Young does slide. Guys like Justin Herbert, are they going to get taken earlier to different teams? Or are teams going to trade down? It's just a wild disarray, bedlam, as you say.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. Chase Young could go #1 in this draft.
Now we're talking.
He's a beast.
He's with Peter Schrager right now out in Indianapolis. Hey, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks, Kay. I'm with Chase Young, who is the #1 prospect on Daniel Jeremiah's board. He was the #1 prospect I had in our top 10 combine prospects, and he's our #1 guest in the 9 a.m. hour. Chase Young, welcome to Good Morning Football.
I appreciate it.
It's great having you here. What's this week been like for you? I know it's been a whirlwind, but your impressions as a guy who everyone has eyes on.
It's been definitely been crazy. You know, they got us doing a lot of stuff. You know, all these meetings, formal, informal. But it's cool. You know, it's something I always dreamed about when I was young, and I'm just happy to be here. You know, and get a chance to see, you know, what goes on behind the scenes. You know, leading up to the draft.
Yeah, and you've already come out and said you're not going to compete in the drills. What went into that decision, saying I'm just going to sit pretty, I'm good, I'll meet with all the teams, I'll do the medical evaluations, but there will be no 40-yard dash from Chase Young?
I think me and my team, you know, we decided to do that just because when that day one, when I stepped on the field, I want to be football ready. You know, I'm not trying to compete to be, you know, a combine player. I want to compete to be a football player, you know. And just know when I step on that field, you know, day one, I'll be ready.
I love it. A complete prospect across the board. You had 16.5 sacks in the Big Ten last year. You had 4 against Wisconsin. Now you're going to the big leagues. You're going to the NFL. What's the thing that you need to do to make your game even better and ready for the NFL?
I just say stay focused, hard work, dedication, something I go by. And you know, just keep my head down and keep pushing like I did in college, man. I feel like that's the main thing I have to do.
I talk to a lot of these GMs and these scouts, and they say this kid is the perfect defensive prospect. And people have been talking to you about these glowing terms. How do you level expectations? How do you stay humbled? And do you listen to all the noise of #1 prospect, #2 in the mock draft, #1 in the mock draft? As that guy in your shoes, how do you handle it?
I think I have a good team around me. My coach in college, Coach Larry Johnson, he helped me out a lot by canceling out all the noise. And I think I give a lot of credit to myself. I try not to pay attention to the outside noise, you know, the hate or the praise. So I think, you know, that was just me growing up all my life, you know, just not paying attention to the outside noise. And, you know, it definitely helped me a lot during my career.
It's got to be some pretty cool things, though, because I got a friend who lives out in L.A., and he texts me and goes, I think Chase Young's at the Laker game. And, yes, Chase Young was at the Laker game. Who did you meet at the Laker game last week?
I met Denzel Washington. It was crazy. Baron Davis, Gary Payton, Mark Wahlberg was there. It was definitely a cool scene, man. I was definitely blessed. I had a whole conversation with Denzel Washington. And
what does Denzel Washington tell Chase Young? I love this.
He told me use football as a platform. He said football is not my purpose. Use it as a platform. And, you know, as I use it as a platform, I'll find my purpose. And he told me when I find my purpose, you know, just keep going.
It's so inspiring.
Yeah.
And I know LeBron James plays a big role in all of you Ohio guys. Have you had a chance to speak with LeBron? Have you met LeBron?
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's
tweeting about you all the time. So what's that relationship?
Yeah, it's real cool. He's a big brother of mine now. And, you know, I can reach out to him anytime, you know, I have a question about, you know, the future or just anything for real, man.
Yeah. I look at these Ohio State guys in the last couple of years. We know Marshawn Lattimore and Von Bell and Eli Apple, but the first defensive player taken in the last 3 drafts, whether it was Joey Bosa, Denzel Ward, or Nick Bosa, have been Ohio State defensive players. What is it about being a Buckeye that churns out all of these defensive players and at a high level, and not only a player, the #1 player taken in defensively?
I think it goes to first Coach Mick and our strength staff, man. They're great. Coach Mick, he personally pushes me. We had personal conversations about you know, during my career about, you know, how I wanted to be and how you know, just big I wanted to get, just real detailed conversations. And he pushed me. I think second goes our coaching staff, man. I feel like we had the best coaching staff in the country. My coach, Coach Larry Johnson, I feel like he's the best defensive line coach, you know, that's on the planet right now. And I think, yeah, just our coaching staff all around, man, it's real good over there. And I feel like this coming up here, they're going to be real good as well.
This is going to be a great couple months for you. It's going to be a whirlwind. What do you want the prospective NFL teams and fans watching at home right now? We have fans of all 32 are watching. What do you want them to know about Chase Young if they're watching Good Morning Football this morning and if they're looking to take you in the top 2, top 3? Who knows? Maybe #1 overall.
Just know that, you know, I'm a player that's going to come and work my butt off. I'm going to be a Spurs to come in there. I'll be confident, not cocky. And, you know, I'm a player who just wants to learn, you know, get under a veteran and just learn the whole system, and a player who wants to be the best.
Nicknamed what?
The Predator.
The Predator. And this guy's the coolest guy I've met here at the Combine. Chase Young, thank you so much for coming on the show. Good luck the next few weeks. And, of course, as we head towards the NFL draft, we'll be hearing your name a lot.
Thank you.
Back to you guys in the studio. That's it. #1 prospect on everyone's board. It's a pretty good guest on Good Morning Football.
Yeah, unbelievable. Denzel Washington, LeBron James. You can just casually text him about the best places to work out. We did a game here where I told you guys he was also working out with Arnold Schwarzenegger last week. So he's, he's famous. He's also the face of a future franchise, a game changer. And I don't think we're thinking enough about how he will change everything from the day he steps into a locker room. Different
deal there, right? With that guy. I mean, that most guys that show up, I'm working on my 40 and I'm leaning on my family. And God bless them. That's a different deal. I talk to Denzel. I tweet with LeBron. He also has that cool thing where, like, I'm the best player in the draft. Like, Saquon had it. Yeah. Like, Nick Bosa had it. Like,
regardless of the quarterback conversation.
Yeah, I'm the guy. You should almost have, like, a little patch when you enter, like, I was the best player. And I know your eyes bulged out when he said the word Denzel.
Of course, man. I mean, listen, just those 3 guys he named. So let me get this straight. He gets to learn how to trash talk by meeting Gary Payton.
Yep, perfect. Love.
And then before the biggest training day of his lifetime in the combine, he meets Denzel Washington, and he can text Big Bro Bron about being a beast on the field. Everything's looking up for this young Chase Young.
Was he 2 years old when training day came out? Does he even remember the Bone Collector? And what was Denzel's like? Use your platform. It's very cerebral. I thought it was going to be you reach, I teach.
That should be his new nickname, the Bone Collector.
The Bone Collector?
He gets sacks.
So he's the Predator and the Bone Collector and the best player in the draft.
What advice would you give him when you eventually see him?
I don't need to give him any advice.
But
he needs to listen to Bron. I would say exactly what Denzel said. Use football as a platform. He seems very level-headed. And lean on the superstars that you know. The more people that have been through what you're about to go through, the easier your journey is going to be.
We got a little charge from that, didn't we? That was